Deductible Opinions.
Hello again. Welcome to the Deductible Opinions podcast. This week, Gladiator II. Last time, Gladiator 1. We're doing the sequel. With me, as always, is our producer extraordinaire, Zach. How are you, Zach? What's going on?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just living the home ownership dream, you know.
Nice. The doctor in charge of the podcast health, Jordan. Dr.
I don't
Jordan.
know if I'm sick or not,
Dr.
but
J.
I feel like I am. You know, the boy's been sick, and
you don't-
maybe subconsciously I think I'm sick. I don't know.
You feel like you're sick by proxy?
Yeah, you know, runny nose every now and then.
Yep.
Could be hay fever. I don't know.
I love that game. I love that game in Melbourne. Do I have a cold? Or
Yeah,
is
exactly.
It just terrible hay fever from the pollution?
I swear to God, 6 years ago, I got hit with some of the worst hay fever I'd ever had. And at the exact same time, I caught a cold. And I literally went into my old man's office and I was like, I need to move to LA for 3 months. And he was like, okay. And then this is a real story. And then I got better like a week later and then I was like, oh, hang on. I had a cold and hay fever. Hay fever alone I can handle. But yeah, I was ready to leave the country.
That's kind of when those asthma storms started.
Yeah, man, I've never had asthma, but yeah, it was god awful.
No, but the asthma storms first of all, the asthma storms can give people that don't have asthma.
Okay.
Then they seriously trigger your hay fever. It's just because there's
Yeah, well, that might have been it too. So I may or may not be sick. Is the answer?
Nice, Dr. J. That's your new nickname. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, I like it.
Dr. J. So, fellas, we all went and saw Gladiator II.
We did.
The epic, and we're here to talk about it. But before we talk about it, Zach and I went to a little event on the weekend, didn't we, Zach?
Oh, we did.
What did we do, Zach?
We headed down to our friendly local game store and we did a Star Wars Unlimited pre-release event.
Star Wars Unlimited is a card game, like a trading card game, like Magic the Gathering, but with Darth Vader. You know, you go there, you pay your money, you get cards, you got to build a random deck, and then you play with strangers.
Marcus is going to beat the shit out of you when he realizes you're playing fucking card games as the 35-year-old man.
He won't, man, because Nick did very well.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, man.
Nick did very well.
You're lucky.
Let's not talk about how I did, but Nick did very well.
I placed, I came third, but you didn't come last. You didn't come last, Zach. You know,
I did not come last by technicality.
They read a couple of names out.
That is true. I am in the top 4 winners photo, though.
I got you in the photo. I pulled rank. Got you in the photo.
I have not seen that photo being published yet.
What did you finish, Nick?
I came third.
You pulled rank as a third placer. Okay.
It was also my natural charisma.
Right.
So came third, won all but one game. Got very unlucky with my card draw in one game. Just couldn't. Every card I pulled was just too high mana to pull, which like it's called flooding in Magic the Gathering. Very common in Magic the Gathering. Very uncommon in Star Wars. Just because of the way the mana system works, it's like less than a 1% chance of happening. And it happened.
God.
And the guy it happened against won the event. So very close. Very close. But it was fun.
It was really fun. Even though, you know, I had 2 wins, one of them may have been a technicality by account of a bye. I had a great time.
You know what? Getting
a win's a win.
Any wins with Padme is amazing. You know?
Yeah.
So in the game, you also draft your leaders.
We said we wouldn't talk about my choices of leader for the game.
You know, I of the cards I drafted, I chose Anakin Skywalker. He's a Jedi. You know, he turns into Darth Vader. Spoilers for Star Wars. You know, he's capable. Anakin Skywalker, he might hate sand, but he's capable. Now, Zach chose to pick Padme.
Hey, man, Natalie Portman has a degree in psychology.
She does.
She may have a degree, but she is the actress that plays Padme. Padme is a 15-year-old queen from Naboo, some backwater planet. Okay? She has no special skills.
She has no special abilities either. She's hot garbage. I didn't get a win until I sideboarded in my Maul, Darth Maul cards.
And that makes sense. Darth Maul, very capable. You just ask Qui-Gon Jinn about how capable Maul is.
Very capable. But then I did well. Should have done that from the start.
Is the artwork based off of Natalie Portman?
I don't know, Zach. That's a good question. I actually don't know.
For Padme, Zach, you do know that?
Sorry, what was the question?
Is the artwork for the Padme card based off Natalie Portman?
Yes, but also it's bad, so it's hard to tell.
Really? It does look like her. Oh shit.
You shocked him with the question.
Yeah, you
He
can
he
know
was
his.
shocked for a second. It's like, oh, is this a trap? Can I say this? I watched 2 movies.
What'd you watch, man?
The first movie that I watched, I'm continuing my journey of trying to watch all the John Carpenter's movies. I'm pretty close. I've only got 4 more to go. And the movie I watched was John Carpenter's Vampires. Has anybody seen this movie?
No.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, this is a interesting movie to say the least. This is 1998, so well within Carpenter's kind of fall. It stars James Wood, of all people. Basically, James Wood is a massive asshole who hunts vampires.
Hell yeah.
He's got a gang of vampire hunters. They are all armed with the goofiest looking props you could possibly imagine. They're really kind of rough assholes. The towns they go and they hunt the vampires in, they demand that the local police go out and bring them a fleet of prostitutes to party with every night. And they hit women. One of the prostitutes gets turned into a vampire and they treat this poor woman with absolute disdain and contempt. They're just horrible. But essentially the gimmick is they go into vampire nests and they have like a crossbow with a little like rope or wire attached against it. They'll shoot the bow into the vampire. It's attached to a Jeep and they'll use like a pulley system on the Jeep, like a wrench or whatever it's called, to pull the vampires outside of the house so they die in the light. And so
Sick.
they go into these vampire houses, they try to kill all the vampires, and they want to kill the master, which is like the strong vampire that's turned them all. Look, the movie could have been something. Like it could have had something, but it just doesn't have it. It just misses the mark everywhere it can. Like the props are goofy, the characters are unlikable, but not in a fun way that would make the movie work. In a like, oh, you guys are just kind of horrible. I definitely think other actors could have pulled it off better. So it stars James Wood, and the secondary character is a Baldwin, the worst and fattest Baldwin, Daniel Baldwin, which is like, oh,
Ooh, that's a shame.
that's the wrong Baldwin, guys. That's not the one you want. You know?
Yeah, they couldn't afford any other one.
Is it worth a
The
watch?
budget was 20 mil. You know, they couldn't afford any other Baldwin.
No, he's the only one who would come for 20 mil. He probably kept the clothes they gave him as a little sign-on bonus. Is it worth a watch? If you're in your 20s, and you're having the boys over, you're having a little drink, and you want a dumb movie in the background that's got some nudity, it's got some swearing, it's got some vampires, you know, it's got some pretty funny scenes. Like, yeah, maybe, but it's not very good, unfortunately.
It's a shame.
Yeah, John Carpenter's Vampires. Still love you, John C. But that one, missed the mark on that one. And then the other one I saw, good little partner movie to watch with your partners, or if you're on like a date or something. I don't know. It's called My Old Ass. Have you guys seen this? Have you heard about this?
Nope.
Negatory.
So it is about an 18-year-old who goes into into a little island to do magic mushrooms with their friends. And as she's tripping on the magic mushrooms, she's visited by a 39-year-old version of herself, played by Aubrey Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a cute little like love story type thing where she's talking to her older self and getting advice and stuff. It's good. It's worth watching with your partners. I reckon. I liked it. I thought it was a decent little flick. Give it a watch.
What was it called again?
It's called My Old Ass.
Okay. I'm probably not going to watch it, dude.
We appreciate your honesty.
Sorry, that's a no from me, dude.
That's a recommend from me. It's good. It's good. It's a fun movie. I think it's worth a watch. Without further ado, or do we want to talk about the Game of the Year nominations quickly?
I think we should, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's bloody.
We did go to PAX, we're a gaming.
We're a gaming pod as well.
All right, Zach. Well, why don't you lead us off with the...
Well, as we know, the Game Awards are the definitive video gaming event. It's not just 4 hours of ads. And I'm going to have to pull the list up because...
I got the list if you want to start reading it off.
You got the list?
Yeah. Game of the Year, you want to hear the noms?
Yeah, give me the noms, man.
Yeah, we got Astrobot.
Mm.
All right. Bellatro, good game, a little card game, pretty
That
cute.
is a good game. Yeah.
Black Myth, Wukong. Don't know about that. Isn't that some Chinese?
You know how I feel about Monkey Media.
Is that
Don't
an
do
MMO? What is it?
It's like a Dark Souls
Okay.
clone.
And then we got Elden Ring, Shadow of the Tree, Erdtree, which you said you didn't finish, Nick, right?
I did not finish that. No.
I didn't even
Final
play it.
Fantasy VII Rebirth and Metaphor Refantasio. It's concerning that half of the games on this list I've never heard of.
A lot of anime games.
A lot of anime games.
The youth it's a challenge at the moment with the youth. They are being corrupted daily. You know, it's a lot of
Anime brain rot.
Is it a bad year for
Metaphor? I think is good.
What's Metaphor?
It's like it's a Persona. It's by the people who do the Persona games, but it's in like a medieval setting, and I think is quite good. I've been slowly working my way through Final Fantasy Rebirth, and it's okay, but it is filled with so much filler content that I'm 37 hours into it. I'm almost at the point of giving up. I'm at chapter 9 out of 14. Apparently, it's a 60-hour game, and I think I'm done.
Outrageous. What the heck? Why would you pay 60 hours of an anime game? It's too much.
Brain rot.
The children, they've gone down a dangerous path, and this is the result.
Is it a bad year for releases? Like what? It was Helldivers 2 dog shit. Like I don't know
if Helldivers deserves to be on that list. It certainly was a flash in the pan moment, and I thought was really good. I'm also furious that the Silent Hill 2 remake got snubbed and isn't on there as well.
Now I have a question because that's a remake, dude. That's not a new game. Remakes are they able to win?
I think a remake is eligible for winning, but not like a remaster. Like I draw the line if it's a completely different game.
Yep.
Like the RE4 remake or Silent Hill 2. Yeah, if it's just like a new textures and an up-res, I don't think that's eligible.
So the drama is Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is a DLC, not a new game.
Yeah, true.
Last year, Cyberpunk was not nominated because it was a DLC, and this year, Shadow of the Erdtree is nominated as a DLC.
Interesting.
I've also heard, I haven't played Silent Hill 2, but I've also heard people say that should be on there. I think it was an okay year for games. Astrobot is really good. That's a really fun game. They've done a really good job there. Obviously, some of this anime filth kind of bogs it down.
I think Balatro is going to win.
You think so?
That's my pick.
Balatro won't win.
You think Astrobot's got this?
No.
What do you think What do you think some of the nerds are going to vote for?
Probably going to be Elden Ring.
Elden Ring's got it. Elden Ring's going to win.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I suspect.
But I don't think the fanfare for Shadow of the Erdtree doesn't seem as great as for the original game.
I like Souls games. I liked them more when I was younger. I like the start of Elden Ring, but the back end felt very not polished and punishing. Their DLC has always been outrageously difficult to the point of not fun. That really started in Bloodborne, where the last boss of Bloodborne is almost very, very difficult to beat, just not really worth doing. Shadow of the Erdtree was just more of that. It wasn't fun to beat the bosses. So it definitely wouldn't be my game of the year.
I put 103 hours into Elden Ring, and I couldn't by the time I finished it, I just was like, I never need to play a Souls game again. I had zero interest in picking up the DLC. But maybe I'm a filthy casual. I don't know.
I'm disgusted that Echoes of Wisdom didn't make the cut, man. That's crazy.
What's Echoes of Wisdom?
Legend of Zelda, dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even that, I haven't finished that. Because I do feel like I would imagine I've probably played more than you, Jordan.
You would have
played it.
I have played it. Yeah, I haven't. I'm not massively into it.
I'm not that far in. I'm up to the water temple, but it is starting to feel like, hey, are we going to get new mechanics soon, or is this all the mechanics? Is it just going to be I get monsters that are slightly stronger than the old monsters? The mechanics aren't evolving in the game. It's a good game, but it's not. I can see
there's a new Paper Mario, dude. Did you think about this?
Damn, dude, that's not even worth considering. So I don't know why. I'm kind of embarrassed that you brought that up.
Do you have any picks, Jordan, for Game of the Year?
I've played TCG. None of them. Literally, the only thing on this list I've played is Balatro. So I think that's going to win.
Gambling.
We've done it. We solved the Game Awards. Oh, I think, and I go for Astrobot. We did it. We solved the Game Awards.
I think in reality, Elden Ring or Final Fantasy, because all the weebs are going to turn out and vote for that shit.
I've already told you that Astrobot's going to win. So
okay, my man. You were right last year.
Was I?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were.
Oh yeah, didn't we have a bet on what was gonna win?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did have a bet on what was gonna win. That's right. Was it? I can't remember what it was, but
I can't remember what it was either.
Was it
Pretty
Zelda?
sure it was a dinner or something. No, I bet on Zelda. It was not Zelda.
Oh, you fool.
Did I bet on Resident Evil 4?
You might have. Baldur's Gate 3 won.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bet
yeah,
against
of
Baldur's
course.
Gate. That's insane. That is
absolute insanity. It's like drafting Padme.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that I picked Zelda is the most insane thing in the world.
Gladiator 2.
Gladiator
2. The son of Maximus has returned to seek vengeance or to save Rome, or he's here to do something. The movie's not sure. We're not sure either. The epic is back. Ridley Scott in his second epic historical gladiator movie about gladiator combat. Denzel Washington is here. He's having a blast.
Great time.
Did we have a blast? Gladiator 2.
Nice. That's the most disheartened I've heard you as you've done the read for a movie, Nick. Just quietly.
That's it. Well, I just didn't prep that one. That was all.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really deserve any prep, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got some likes, and I've got some
Do
dislikes. Yeah.
I have some likes as well, but not many.
I want to start with my likes. I'd like to start on a positive note. So immediately as the movie starts, we've got the big battle scene, the gigantic battle scene. I thought that battle scene was epic. As I was sitting in the cinema and we're watching the battle scene, and it's got the Romans on their warships, and they've got the siege towers that they're using to collapse onto the sea fort and breach onto the castle and take down this fortification. I remember sitting there and thinking, this is why I love Ridley Scott, because Ridley Scott is the only director who is doing this kind of stuff. I don't hate the Marvel movies. I like quite a few of the Marvel movies, but the action is horrible in them. Like, this is cinema. This is actually epic. We're seeing Romans versus North Africans in like a historical battle. This movie didn't have as much of it as Gladiator 1, but this scene was great. This was a fun scene. I really enjoyed it.
How many North Africans were actually fighting in that scene, man? Just a question.
It did seem like there were a couple white people there. I don't know what's going on.
A lot of white people, bro.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know even the time. I know it's on the border. I don't know if at the time there would have been lots of, I don't know. I didn't look into that historical part of it, but it was fun. I liked it. I thought that was
a cool fight scene.
They did a good job. It looked spectacular. The costumes were spectacular. He gave a little speech, a cute little speech. That was nice. Yeah. Did you guys like this scene? What did you think?
The battle was sick. I don't know how much CGI he actually used, but if he did use a lot, it wasn't that noticeable, to be honest. I thought it looked great.
Well, what did you think, Zach?
It had me excited. I feel like I went in going into this movie being like, I think this is going to be bad. And I started to question myself throughout the opening sequence of this film. Because, the action was good.
Mm.
The score was good. You're getting excited for some gladiator action.
I will say the very, very start where his wife's hanging laundry and he's just there doing whatever he's doing did have me concerned.
Can't ever remember that.
I was concerned when the Gladiator name appeared on the screen and it separated in two and the two appeared in the middle. That's when I was concerned for the movie.
But wait, so the first Gladiator, he was literally just they were literally you get into the movie and they're standing in lines ready to fight, and then you get into this movie and she's hanging washing, and he's making out with her hanging washing. And I was like, what are we doing here?
I like that
you quickly get to the battle scene, but I was concerned initially.
I like that they brought back the opening credits and the opening text. They spoke about this last episode. Although I will say, the dream of Rome is gone. I mean, Maximus worked really hard. It's only been 16 years.
16 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense though. The Republic's never going to work.
Can we also talk about paintings in the opening credits?
Oh yes.
I don't even remember it.
It was almost I feel like it wasn't AI generated, but there was, remember that it starts off and it's got the recap of the first film, but in partly AI created drivel. I don't know. I didn't think it looked good.
Yeah, recap the entire first film, but it looked like it was like a paintbrush filter.
It's like someone who just discovered Midjourney or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine, whatever. They were getting into it. I guess it was trying to remind audiences that hadn't seen Gladiator 1. I don't think you really needed to remind them for this script.
Probably not.
I didn't find it too offensive. I don't know if it was AI or not, but it was just whatever. Russell Crowe might be upset since he didn't get any money for this movie, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. So the whole movie is based on the lead being super angry about his wife being killed, and his wife is killed during this scene. So Rome basically attack the Media. It's a fort in the Media. They breach on with their ships. They have little siege things you push towards land castles, but on their ships, and the bridge goes down. They push past the breach and they take over this castle, during which Mescal's wife is trying to shoot the general, played by Pedro Pascal, with a bow. Misses the general, but kills one of the general's soldiers. The general then yells out and orders all his troops to kill all the archers above. The wife gets killed. You know, like, so he's angry about this, but she did try to kill him first.
She had it coming. I mean, this is war.
Yeah, not really Pedro's fault here. The actual scene, which I thought was interesting, you asked before, was how much CGI was it? How much practical was it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Where do you?
I assume there were some real ships. I don't know how many of them were fake, though. You reckon 50-50, Zach?
I can barely even remember the intro.
Let me just look up the budget real quick.
Yeah, maybe 25% real, 75% siege.
250 mil. 250. I reckon I'm going to go 80% real.
The opening battle scene was shot in the middle of the Moroccan desert, repurposing some old sets from the 2005 film Kingdom of Heaven. So the issue with that is that there is no water in the desert. It's sand.
That's a concern. This is not bode well for me.
So they built ships. They got these hydraulic building movers that is used for moving nuclear reactors or tanks. Then you use them to move stuff. And they use them as platforms to steer 2 full-scale ships over the desert to simulate an invasion by sea. So it was 2 real ships. And then ILM added water, sails, and riggings for the boat, as well as all the arrows and fireballs in post. That was all CGI. It's literally a giant wooden ship that is being moved by a mechanical hydraulic that they then paint out on sand. There's no water at all.
Yeah. It looked good.
That's incredible.
It looks really good.
The fact you can do that.
Mm.
And then the VXF supervisor said they replaced the clear skies with dark clouds. And then he said they added birds in because apparently Ridley Scott loves birds.
Yeah, fair enough.
Get Ridley Scott to love that one. Probably the second thing that I enjoyed about the film, I really liked Joseph Quinn's acting as the Emperor. He is
very
twins. Good. He's the not crazy brother. He's
He's
crazy in a different way. He's from Stranger Things and he's from A Quiet Place Day One. And I really hated A Quiet Place Day One. But I think he did a really good job in this. Definitely with what he was given. He's overacting just the perfect amount. And he's doing this like staring bug-eyed thing that was really working for me. I don't know if that was working for you guys.
Oh yeah, I 100% believe that dude was absolutely insane.
I think he's an up-and-comer, I reckon. I think he will, he's a big breakout from Stranger Things.
Well, this role, I believe, will land him a major role in another movie, unless the next thing I'm about to say spoils that.
Okay.
Because fun fact, he's been painting the town red and dating Doja Cat.
Oh my God.
That's for my cat heads. And apparently is going to play the next Johnny Storm.
He is,
so
yes.
He is, yeah.
There's a chance he's going to be tied up as Johnny Storm and he won't get a major film out of this. Because I think he would have, because his performance was, I think, really, really good.
Flame on.
I'm not sure about him as Johnny Storm, but maybe we just haven't seen him act like that before.
Pedro is also in, that's 2 Gladiator alumni.
Oh, who's he?
He's Mr. Fantastic.
No.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. They should get Denzel to play the wife. And then another Doja Cat fact for my cat heads. That's what she calls her fans, I assume. I don't know, but that's what I would call my fans if my name was Doja Cat. She stopped releasing music for a while because she was amidst what she describes as a creative limbo, which was influenced by her record labels not paying her enough attention, as well as the effects of finding herself and smoking too much marijuana.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break. So I think did a really, really good job. I really like
his acting was fantastic.
he might have been the best actor in the.
I think so.
Denzel did a good job, but he overacted.
I mean,
Denzel was very
I love
watchable.
Denzel on everything.
Yeah, he overacted in several scenes though. He went too far. I think in a few scenes. Some scenes he was good, but some was just like you need to turn it down a little bit, Denzel.
There's a bit too much Denzel in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He has a certain way of acting, and it probably wouldn't have existed in ancient Rome. Let's be real.
You said you might have had something you liked about the film. Do you have any likes or dislikes, Jordan?
Mostly the acting performances. Plus, look, he did costumes really well again. The set design was fantastic again. The Colosseum looked really good this time, I think. Even though, how much time do we spend in there? Maybe 20 minutes of the movie.
Same Colosseum set that they used. They just built it up again for the same location. Great. Yeah, really good.
Look, those are the main things I like. There's a lot I kind of disliked, though.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to get into that. Are there things you like, Zach? What are we talking here?
Look, I liked, much like you boys have touched on, I enjoyed Joseph Quinn. I thought his performance was really good. I thought Denzel was really good. For me, that's about it. I really did not like a lot of this movie. I think it's hot garbage.
Man.
The second scene I want to bring up is he fights Mel Gibson in front of the emperors. And the emperors are completely unarmed and defenseless in front of this dude who was a prisoner of war not 2 minutes ago.
We're skipping one of the worst scenes in the movie.
What's that?
Where he fights fucking monkeys, dude.
Oh, the monkeys.
I'm still in the likes.
Oh, you liked this.
Oh, you liked?
You liked this. Okay.
I thought it was really Mel Gibson.
Yeah, well, no, that was a cool fight.
And I was like, it's Mel Gibson. And she's like, no, it's fucking not. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Mel Gibson's not jacked. That makes sense. Mel's not jacked. I don't know why I thought it was Mel Gibson. He had a Mel Gibson vibe. Did anyone get that?
Not at all.
No.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, that
not
makes
remotely.
Sense. Anyway, I thought the fight was interesting. I didn't like that he then just started saying poetry afterwards. I mean, I kind of liked it at first when it seemed like he was pretending he didn't speak Roman and that he was just reciting poetry because that's what like Denzel had taught him. But then he talks Roman afterwards, and I'm like, I don't understand what you're going for here.
In general, I don't know if it was Paul Mescal's fault or if it's the writer's fault, but his character I did not enjoy in this movie at all.
It could be both, dude.
It could be both. Every fucking speech that man made in this movie went nowhere and had no gravitas behind it at all. Not a single one of them was impressive in any way.
They were weak speeches, but his character, I feel, was assassinated by the fact, and I can get into it now. I was going to get into it in my dislikes. In this movie, you've got kind of two parts. The start of the movie, the whole movie, there's this idea that they're building towards it's like a story about vengeance and rage. Lucius is abandoned by his mother, has to survive by himself. She apparently never tries to go and find him. He goes and he finds this new life, and then Rome comes back, kills his wife, and forcibly pulls him back into slavery, pulls him back in, brings him back to Rome, the last place he wants to be, especially after he's talking to the tribal chieftain who mentions, when you came here, you were nothing more than an animal full of rage. Don't let the Romans take that from you again. Don't lose what you've learned here. And he immediately loses what he learned. He's going back to Rome. He's like full of rage. He's like yelling at people. He bites a freaking monkey. He's like, he doesn't chat with anyone. He doesn't say anything. He's like full of rage. Denzel even says, I pick my gladiators based on rage. He's losing the fight against Mel Gibson, but he gets angry, rages out, and he ends up winning the fight that he's about to lose. Before the ship battle scene, he just sits there all night rowing by himself till his hands are bloody, even though in the ship battle he doesn't even row at all. You know what I mean? And so we have this story about revenge and about rage and about hate. And I think that Paul Mescal does it well. He gives me the acting in his face. Like, I'm like, this is an unhinged, angry man. And finally he gets what he wants. And what he's wanted the whole movie is the general. He wants Pedro Pascal. He killed my wife. He's Roman. He's sleeping with my mum. He's everything I hate. I hate my mum. I hate Roman. I hate that he killed all my friends and he killed my wife.
Mm-hmm.
They bring him out. He's given to him on a platter, and they're in the arena and they're about to fight. And then Pedro Pascal goes, "I give up. I'm dating your mum. I loved your dad. Maximus was your dad, by the way." Now the whole film has been building to this, and he just goes, yeah, actually, I'm not angry anymore.
Oh,
I forgive you." And then his character just does a complete 180. And instead of being full of rage, he's then sad that the general gets killed. The man that he's been trying to murder the entire film gets killed by the emperor. And he's like, oh, he's a hero of Rome. And then he wants to save Rome and he wants to do all this stuff. That's the writing's fault. No actor could make that be convincing.
that's not his fault.
Because the character just changes. You've just changed the character in the middle for no reason.
It was so jarring. It's so obvious too. Like it's not even like a slow build up to wanting to help Rome again. It's just the snap of a finger, and he is now done a complete 180. It was really bad.
Yeah, and now he's Maximus all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone respects him as if he's Maximus. All the gladiators treat him as if he's Maximus, even though the gladiators all respected Maximus because he literally saved their life in the arenas. Whereas in the arena fights in this movie, essentially what happens is...
Wait, there are arena fights?
Yeah, there's a couple of fights. He fights the monkey, he fights in the boat.
I'm fucking with you, dude. No, that is a joke. There are very few fucking gladiator fights in the movie Gladiator II.
None of them end, though, because what happens is the fight starts. Paul Mescal then somehow one-on-ones the main character of the fight. You don't see any of the other gladiators in the fight. Paul will then win his fight, and it will just immediately end, and you won't see the end of it. And it's like, I don't know if it's for timing. I don't know what's going on. But none of them feel like life or death situation. No. First, there's the monkey thing that we've talked to. I did have one more positive, but like, you've got me on the dislikes now. I can do the other positive later.
All right.
First, you got the monkey fight, right? He's in the arena. There's a bunch of gladiators in the arena, not just him. And there's a bunch of monkeys, baboons, correct? They're everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so there's heaps and heaps of baboons. Then Paul Mescal fights one in the middle of the arena, and then he beats it, and the fight's now over.
Yeah.
What happened to all the other baboons? They're even there. You see them. No, the fight's over now.
We don't
think about it. Not helped by the fact that I have a CGI tier list of which animals look the fucking worst. Monkey, number one on my list of the worst looking animals. Okay.
It looked so fucking bad, dude.
Worst CGI animal was the monkey, the baboon, followed by the sharks.
Yeah, the rhino was last.
The monkey was apparently because Ridley Scott had viewed a zoo documentary about a wildlife park. There was ice cream, a tea shot, and that like the people were all having like it was a nice little wildlife park. And then some baboons came into the site. Some lady went up to try and pat it, and the baboon apparently grabbed her and like ripped her arm off. And so then Ridley Scott's like, I want a scene where gladiators face a troop of baboons and they're super angry. Because actors need an actor to play against, I want you to picture this in your head, because this is how the scene actually was before the CGI was involved. They have to have cast like humans to act against. That's what Ridley Scott believes. He got the smallest stunt men and women he could possibly find. He put them in black tights with black masks, and then they made them walk on these tiny little crutches, so it looked like they could move on all fours.
Wow.
All that for the scene to look like absolute dog shit.
That was I think it was the worst scene of the movie.
I did too.
Visually and in other aspects, but it looked fucking god awful.
Just have a human fight. Just have a one-on-one human fight. Yeah. I don't know why. And you could have saved it as well. I know they talk about how he's a monkey slayer later in the film, but you could reshoot it and have him kill a man wearing a monkey helmet or something. It could have been saved, Ridley Scott.
Oh, for sure. We're watching a movie called Gladiator II. The first gladiator fight in this movie, they're fighting baboons. Like it's just that was it for me. That from that point onwards, I almost lost faith in this movie entirely.
I was still in until the change when he doesn't kill Pascal. And I was telling you the other day that my theory is in the original script that he kills him, and then his mother speaks to him and he finds out, he was like Maximus, he was going to go and get his army to
Yeah,
conquer
right.
Rome and give it back to the people. And then he feels guilt that he's basically doomed Rome.
That would have been semi acceptable.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, so that makes sense. And then maybe his mum gets killed by the emperors or something, and he gets pushed, so now he's lost. Pedro's dead and his mum's dead, and he's like, if I don't do something, these emperors are going to just make the Romans fight forever and starve to death or something. That's what I think was going to happen. But obviously they're like, no, audiences can't deal with that. Too morally grey. Cut it. That's my theory.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What do we think of the ship battle? Do we like the ship battle at all?
No.
Didn't like it.
That's a thumbs down for me, bro.
That is a thumbs down for me as well. The only thing I liked is the recreation of the theoretical water battles that they could have possibly done back in the day. Is the sharks. I do not understand how he thought sharks were an acceptable thing to put in there at all.
Yeah. He didn't even have one jumping out so we could make jump the shark jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few issues with that battle. I think the battle was cool. I like the battle in theory. They didn't really sell it. We didn't know it was coming. We kind of knew from the trailer, but it kind of just gets thrown on us. The sharks look dumb. I don't understand why they didn't just cut the sharks. Again, you can just remove that from your film with editing, guys. You don't have to leave it in. They didn't explain that. Will you guys tell me if you got this? Did you understand that only one set of ships had bow and arrows and the other ship didn't?
I mean, I did. Yeah, I knew they weren't firing. They're only firing one direction. Did you not get that?
Well, I didn't get were they meant to be why was it like that? Were they meant to lose? Why does only one?
It's the same with the chariot fight in the original Gladiator. Like,
So
if that was meant to be a fair fight, both sides would have been on chariots. See what I'm saying? Of course they were meant to lose.
So it was one of these ones where they were meant to lose. But
the idea with gladiator battles is that the gladiators were at a disadvantage at all times.
Well, but they're both gladiators.
Well,
I think both sides are gladiators. They're just from different gladiator houses. It's not soldiers fighting them. So I bet you maybe that's. I didn't feel like that was explained to me well enough. I knew eventually, but I didn't know straight away. There was no tension like they're going into something losing. I didn't know it until the scene had started, and they just didn't have bow and arrows, and one side did. I was thinking the whole time, this strategy seems kind of dumb. You're just going to keep taking arrows and dying, and you destroy their rows, so they can't row, and then you ram them. He gets a bow and arrow, and he tries to kill the general. And then again, the fight just ends. We don't see them kill all the people on the ship. It just ends. This is the issue with these fights. The other gladiators just disappear. There are no gladiators other than him in any of the fights. In the first movie, you had the big German guy, you had your friend, you had Jabba, you had a few of the other characters. In this, the other gladiators disappear the second the main character is on screen, and the fights end the second the main character wins. It was the same with the Rhino fight. The Rhino fight was actually the worst for this. Yeah. Because he tricks the Rhino into slamming into the wall, and then the rider jumps off, and he one-on-ones him. Where are all the other gladiators? Where have they gone?
It's funny. Everything we said we liked about the original Gladiator movie, the gore, you actually see him chop heads off, the cool shit like that. They just did none of it in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a bigger question to be asked here, and this is a comedy podcast, of course. Should Ridley Scott get checked for a brain tumor? Because I don't see how a healthy person could look at that monkey fight after having the CGI team do it and think that belonged in the movie.
Yeah. Do you think he looked at it and said, yep, that's good? Or
he's like, yeah, that's in there, man. Just keep it in.
Keep it in? You've done it.
Look at the he looked at the sharks and he's like, yeah, that is staying in, mate. That is sick.
Interestingly, Ridley was very anti-AI until Gladiator, and now he's all for it, which I feel like it's had some...
Is he actually for AI now?
What do you mean AI?
Yeah, in terms of AI, in terms of using it for visual effects and stuff like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh, interesting. And you think
I'm curious to know how much would have been used in this then.
I didn't see anything like that.
Absolutely, they have used that in this film.
Okay.
Also, I think he should be checked for a brain tumor.
He's quite an old man.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
He hasn't made a good film in a while.
He has not.
The other interesting thing, a lot of practical went into these scenes for it then to still end up looking bad. Like
Yeah.
the at the start with the ships, that looked really good. You couldn't even tell that was practical
No.
or CGI. That was good. But the monkey one looked really bad. The rhino fight, guys, was the rhino CGI or practical? You guys tell me what you think, CGI or practical?
That is a severely diseased rhino if it's a practical.
Dude, they should have got the people who did Ace Ventura Pet Detective 2 to grab their rhino. That would have been way better.
Apparently, it's a practical rhino. Prosthetics designer 3D printed the rhino head, and then they got wrinkled skin made of thick plastic and draped it over the frame and painted it. And they said a mechanical rhino that could shake its head, it could flick its nose up in the air, it could move its eyes, and it could move its ears.
But it couldn't run.
And they could drive it around the Colosseum like a go-kart. No, so all the running they CGI in. But they built a rhino, right?
You couldn't tell they built a rhino.
You couldn't tell they built a rhino. But even they put all this effort in. So it's just...
Well, because I think they used like digital effects to, make it look more alive. And that's...
Yeah. And ironically, they made it look more fake.
Make it look bad again.
Very similar thing happened in Alien Romulus, where the head of Ash was apparently a practical head, but they CGI'd it so much it just looked terrible and fake and uncanny valley. Similar thing. It was a practical head, it was a puppet, and then they just CGI team just butchered it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said when we walked out of this movie, I think CGI is ruining cinema.
You think it's done?
Not even as a joke. Like they just look. Movies just look shit now. It's so obvious. It has gotten better. Obviously, you look at the original Gladiator, for example. The Colosseum CGI originally was god awful, and it looks fantastic now. But the CGI for moving objects is not progressed enough, I think, especially for live things.
I did like Denzel's character. I thought he did a good job other than the few scenes. There was that one scene where he really overreacted too much, where just before he's about to take over Rome or destroy Rome or whatever he's doing, and he's like, ha ha ha, and that's politics. I'm like, Denzel, you need to turn it down like 5%. Turn it down a little bit. But everything else he did was really good. Denzel did a really good job. I mean, Denzel's pretty good. I
like Denzel.
Yeah, he's dependable.
Pretty good job.
Yeah.
A lot of callback lines that were quite lame. Stick with the ones. Stop doing callbacks to the original film. It's too much.
No movie can do that, dude. No sequel can do that. From here on out, it'll never happen.
The ending is terrible. Like I said, I was with the movie up until 50%. I think the first 50% of the movie is solid. I actually think it's fun. It's really fun, epic. It's got some really good set pieces, some good fights. Like, I think it was solid up until the middle. The ending of the movie is an absolute disaster. It makes no sense. Lucius sends Maximus's ring to a general he's never met before, and so the general decides to attack Rome. Someone you've never met or ever heard of before. It's just dumb. That just would never happen. Even when the two armies side up and Denzel and Mescal are fighting together, and they're all like, who is this guy? Why would either side care about the two people in the middle? I didn't realize Denzel used to be a gladiator either. But
I thought that came up at some point earlier in the movie.
Maybe.
I thought that was.
I think it did.
Pretty.
I think that's kind of weird because he was a gladiator, and he was also Marcus Aurelius's, the previous Caesar's slave. But Marcus Aurelius was the one who got rid of Colosseum fighting and gladiator fighting. So
he lost his job.
How did he get free as a gladiator that way? I don't know. Maybe don't think.
He probably got free before he canned the fights. You're reading too much into this, dude.
Maybe. My friend Jermaine said it best. He was talking to me about when he's seen this movie. And he said to me, the night before last, I watched the original Gladiator, a masterpiece. If it were a painting, every single brushstroke on the canvas was put there with genius intention. Gladiator 2 was a fucking crayon drawing done by a child. I think that's
pretty accurate.
So Lucius is back, but he's not played by the same actor. Now, the actor who played the original Lucius is still acting, Spencer Treat Clark.
Oh, really?
And I think we discussed this.
What's he doing?
He does TV. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was in Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
He's a TV actor. And
How
my
do you feel
question
about losing this role?
Well, this is what I'm wondering. Do we think he was even allowed to audition, or do you think no one even called him?
He's probably got a weak body, dude.
No,
He does.
Yeah, he's not as big as.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
He's not as big as Paul Mescal.
But Paul Mescal had to put on 20 kilos or 20 pounds of muscle for this role anyway. They steroid.
They were obviously trying to get someone who looked similar to Russell Crowe, though.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing what's his face does not.
If you don't even get a call, is that crushing as an actor? Is that like, do you think, should I still even be doing this? That was me. That's literally me. I was that character.
Yeah, it's a shame.
They're saying I'm not suitable for it. That's me.
Yeah,
That's
I'd be
literally me. I was the original.
He's also 37 years old.
Is he?
Too old.
Yeah.
What an old.
I have a question.
What an old fucker.
In Gladiator, the original Gladiator movie, are we supposed to know that Marcus Aurelius is the father to that child? Or does that literally come out in this movie?
I got a vibe in the original movie.
Did you?
I definitely got a vibe. There's definitely some
Never
vibes.
had the vibe.
But
Yeah.
I suspect there was a lot of rewrites on that film, like we spoke about last episode.
Yeah, okay.
I suspect at some point it was in the script and it was removed from the script.
Because I don't get that vibe because of the goddamn scene where they run down his kid and slaughter his wife. That's why I never got that vibe.
Yeah, I definitely got if they did, it was because
you could clearly have fathered a bastard child. That's also possible.
Maximus would have cheated and fathered a bastard child.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So if that is the case, which doesn't really seem very Maximus, but
that's what I'm saying.
Don't think about it.
He seems very dedicated to his slaughtered wife.
Do you know what would have been a better movie? Have it not be
anything but Gladiator II.
Have it not be Lucius. Have it be just a random gladiator that the mum thinks is the son, but the son's dead because you abandoned a child.
Yeah.
And it's just some random gladiator, and then that gladiator picks up the mantle and
or maybe just don't tell two fucking stories in the same goddamn movie. Because there's Denzel's story and then there's Lucius's story.
Yeah, it's too much. And there's also the emperors are also a foil. There's too many foils. And there's two emperors, and then the kid emperor kills his brother, and then the monkey's made first consult. Technically, the monkey's still in charge.
Look, I don't know how we do this, but someone get the message out to have a Ridley Scott check for a brain tumor.
Please.
Someone just get it out there.
Someone
start tweeting at him. We need to help this man.
The signs are there. The
signs were there.
Jabba from the first film, still a working actor. He was meant to return in Gladiator 2.
Really?
But he had to drop out.
Did you see the script?
He saw the script.
Due to a scheduling conflict. And so I wonder, was he forced to drop out of this film because of Rebel Moon? Or was he forced contractually to come back and do a fucking Quiet Place Day 1, which he was only in for 2 minutes, and that's why he didn't get this paycheck? Because you'd have to think...
He dodged a bullet. Actually, he didn't dodge a bullet. For some reason, this is rating highly.
No, this would have been a big paycheck for him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It would have been.
I don't think he dodged the bullet. I think he missed a career opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Rebel Moon is the fucking bullet he should have dodged.
That is a bullet for sure.
Yeah, he should have dove on his own fucking gun instead of taking that movie. There was another script for Gladiator 2.
Really?
It was an original script written a couple of years after the first script, many, many moons ago. It was a crazy script that saw Maximus coming back from the dead.
Dude.
Yes.
They wanted Russell Crowe back in the movie. Russell Crowe. Maximus wakes up in the afterlife.
Oh, shit.
And the Roman gods tell him one of them has betrayed them and is preaching another religion on earth. And they need Maximus to go back and kill him to stop it. So Maximus comes back to life, and then he meets a Christian resistance. And he also meets, at this Christian resistance, his son, who is somehow still alive in this script, despite the fact he's run down by like 5 horses in the original film. I don't know, the writer forgot. The villain of this script is none other than Lucius, now grown up to be as evil as his uncle. Interestingly enough, we revisit the Colosseum where the Emperor watches a mock naval battle, but this time it's got 100 alligators instead of sharks. So, are alligators more realistic than sharks?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
The script gets more bonkers. So everything basically leads to a showdown between the Roman army and the Roman emperor and the Christian resistance army, which Maximus and Jabba, who's also in this movie, have been training in secret. And then afterwards, so the battle starts and they win the battle. But then Maximus finds himself striding through all the great battles of history, time traveling. He's in the Crusades, he's in the World Wars, he's
Oh my
in
God.
Vietnam. And then finally, he's at the Pentagon. Kind of like the opening montage to X-Men Origins.
I was going to
Wolverine.
say, did X-Men Origins get this script? I'm like, fuck, this is good.
And yet, with all this craziness and gods and coming back from the dead and time travel, at no point does Russell Crowe step foot in the Colosseum in this script.
Wow.
So Russell Crowe was given this script, and according to the screenwriter, all he said was, "I don't like it, mate." So maybe we got a good movie. Maybe Gladiator 2 was the better of the two options.
That sounded pretty cool. I kind of want to see it.
I would have watched that.
You'd watch that? You watch a time traveling
Yeah, I think so, man.
Absolutely.
Gladiator 2 where he comes back from the dead?
It worked for X-Men Origins.
Did work for X-Men Origins. Did it work for X-Men Origins?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
That film, other than the opening, is hot garbage, right? Is that the Ryan Reynolds one where he's Deadpool? We
Yeah.
speak?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Whoops.
Wolverine Origins, yeah.
Fellas, we did it. I want to get some ratings. Let's start with Jordan.
My rating?
2. Your rating, please.
I'll give you the rating straight up and I'll tell you why afterwards. This got a 2 from me.
Oh.
And that's low. I mean, we're approaching the territory of my belief that if you go too far below the Letterboxd general rating, you are a hater.
Yep.
I am approaching hater territory, but I just think it was hot garbage, dude. This is a gladiator movie with barely any gladiator battles, and the ones that did happen were absolutely abysmal. I don't think there was a single good fight other than the battle at the very beginning of this movie. I do not think any other fight scene in this movie was worth, or it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good at all. The acting, apart from Denzel and the lead emperor, everyone else either acted poorly or the writing was just god awful. Yeah, there's very few redeeming qualities for this movie. And the reason it gets a 2 is it looked very pretty. The costumes were kind of sick, but that's kind of what got it across the line for me. So 2.
A 2.
Yep.
Wow. Below average.
I originally, when we walked out there, I was like, that's a 2.5 or a 2 all day, every day. And I haven't changed my mind.
What did you rate Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
You can keep talking while I look this up.
Yeah, I want to see where these
because I actually did rewatch that recently. I think I did an Indiana Jones. I think I did a marathon.
What did you rate it? Is it similar? While we're looking
if I oh fuck, that's not good.
If you've given the Dial of Destiny rating, so you think the Dial of Destiny was better than Gladiator?
I'm not even joking. I actually think it was better. I actually think Dial of Destiny was better. I gave it a 3.
I do. I would say it was.
I think you're being a hater, man.
I self-admitted that I am approaching hater territory. Possibly there.
Star better. Zach, Gladiator 2. Now I can tell this is going to be a high rating here.
Well, as we all know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Glad 1-8er. I think it's a fine movie. This movie is a cry for help from Ridley Scott. I think bar really good performances from Joseph Quinn and Denzel Washington. I thought the writing was bad. I thought the editing was bad. I thought the action was bad. It's a bad movie. It's 2 stars from me.
Oh,
wow. 2 stars. Dude, the haters.
This is not looking good for Ridley.
The haters have come out on the podcast.
Please, someone talk to Ridley. He needs a check.
Gladiator 2. Sir Ridley Scott.
He's not knighted, is he?
He is. Of course he's knighted. Fuck. One of the greatest directors of our time. Certainly one of the greatest sci-fi directors of our time. Ridley Scott has brought us so much joy. He's created so many franchises. He's taken so many risks where other people would not. One of the few directors that does sci-fi movies. Actual sci-fi movies, not just action movies that are in space. And he's brought us in 2024 at the age of 87, still sharing joy with Gladiator 2 and casting a relatively unknown actor, trying to give him a little bump in his career. What a great heroic man.
Nice of him.
I thought Gladiator 2 was okay. I really enjoyed the starting fight. I enjoyed some of the action scenes were fun. I didn't like that they were all cut off. All the action scenes were kind of cut off before you could really get into it. It's no Gladiator 1. We're nowhere near Gladiator 1. It's not even on the horizon anymore when we're in the cinema watching Gladiator 2.
You would think 2 different directors directed these movies.
Yeah, you could think that, and that would be because it's 24 years apart. It's the age of a young adult apart in
Mm.
time for Ridley Scott. Now, rating wise,
Oh,
I think a 2 is solidly hater level.
yeah.
I think that is insanity. Insanity. Dial of Destiny?
Yeah, it
No
was
way.
better.
I'm gonna give Gladiator 2 a 3 out of 5 because it was a
Wow.
good time for 50% of the movie, and it looked pretty. You know, it was a very pretty film. I really liked the start of the film. That I love that we get an epic of that proportion. I wish we had more of that in the film. More action scenes that were impressive and less distracted with the CGI of doing the baboons, doing the sharks, doing the rhino. All the CGI really distracted from what these films really are about, which is the drama. It's not about the action scene. It's about the drama around the action scene that makes the action scene epic. The boat scene was a perfect example. I said how they didn't explain there was about to be a boat scene. They didn't explain to
Mm.
me that one side had bows and arrows and the other side didn't. The explaining and the tension and the build up, that's the important part, right? You don't just know that they're in trouble when the chariots come out. You know it before the chariots come out because Proximo is pissed and he's saying, "You're going to slaughter my troops. You're going to slaughter my property." 3 out of 5 stars. It's an average film. Considering it cost $300 million, you'd hope it'd be more than 3 out of 5 stars. But I enjoyed it. There's some good performances here. Even Pedro's performance is
It's
pretty
not bad.
good.
I think he was let down by writing.
Yeah, Denzel knocking it out of the park. Joseph Quinn knocking it out of the park. Paul Mescal, he did a good job with what he was given, but I mean, he got a character like the writer's character assassinated him in the middle of the film. 3 stars. That's
Wow,
where I'm
3
sitting at.
stars.
Generous. Very
That's it.
generous.
3 stars. We'll see what happens to the ratings. It's obviously sitting on
It's still sitting at 3.5. I think.
But the Americans haven't seen it yet.
Haven't they? When does it come out in America?
It already came. I think it comes out tomorrow
Oh shit! Okay.
in America.
Yeah, it is. It's on the international.
This podcast won't be out for. It'll be out by the time this podcast is released. But if you're listening to the podcast, we're in the past. We're about 2 weeks in the past or something like that. But it's not out for Americans yet. It came out early down here in Australia. You know, I think we got it a week early.
It's grossed 87 mil internationally so far.
I mean, look, it'll make money.
It will make money. I think it will make money.
Is that good or bad? It costs $300 million. It's only
Yeah.
made
When did it
87?
come? Did it come out last week? Release date. Yeah, it came
Yeah.
out last week. I think that's pretty good.
I think it's been out for 5 days.
Yeah. I think
Is that good for 5 days?
That's pretty good.
It's okay. I wouldn't demand a refund from the cinema for seeing it.
No, there was no dead pixel. That's a win. You know,
No dead pixel in the cinema. That is a win.
that was nice to see.
There was a bit of a ruffled curtain though down the very bottom.
Ooh.
Was there?
Ooh.
The village.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta sort the screen out, please.
Is it getting to the point where Ridley Scott, maybe he's not all he's cracked up to be, and he's been surrounded by people who can actually make good movies, and they've disappeared? Like, what's happening, man?
No, I still think Ridley Scott makes pretty good films.
His hit rate is dropping consistently the more movies he releases.
I mean, yes, that is true, but it's hard when you're older. I mean, even like, you know, Spielberg's recent films have been hot messes as well. And Ridley Scott is a working director. Like, he's gonna have some duds. And yes, he's had a couple of duds, but I thought that The Last Duel was really good. That was only 3 years ago. I thought that, I mean, I can't think of any.
Well,
other
House of
films
Gucci I did
recently.
like, but I also can understand why people thought it was a shit movie.
You did like? Or you
Napoleon
didn't?
was not good. I did like House of Gucci. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was good as well. So yeah. Anyway, look, at least we get the movie. You know, at least we're getting these movies. At least he's doing something.
Yeah,
Better than nothing.
that is something.
What's George Lucas doing? Where's George Lucas?
He's sleeping on a pile of cash. I don't know.
You know?
Sweet pile of cash.
He's the other sci-fi director, and he's done. So be happy that you have one.
I mean, maybe this is a problem. Maybe Ridley should be sticking to sci-fi. Some of his best movies are his sci-fi films. Like The Martian was fantastic.
The Martian was great.
All of his alien movies were fantastic. I mean, it seems like when he strays from sci-fi, it kind of falls off a cliff, to be honest. I mean, his original Gladiator obviously was very good, but that might have been a fluke.
Gladiator 2, what an adventure. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful adventure for Gladiator 2. We'll see you next time, where we will explore a brand new non-Gladiator themed movie.
Dude, what is this fucking lineup of Game of the Year, dude?
Well, let's get into
dog
it.
shit.
We can chat about it in the episode.
All right,
let's get
okay.
into it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's start up. All right. It's crazy. It is insane. It's insane. But don't talk about it. But it's insane. But no, don't reply.
All right.
How crazy is it though? But don't say anything.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I think it's kind of outrageous, but don't share your thoughts with me about it.
Yeah, we got to hold off.
Like Silent Hill 2 really got robbed, but don't.
I mean, we can get into that.
Very firm thoughts about that. I will not say anything. I will save it, but I have.
Sorry, guys, we haven't started yet, so.